skiers can get a video that I have to watch.
Did you go over it with them at all? Or
I told them that it's healthy relationships and that you're gonna tell them word for word.
Perfect, so you told them about everything.
Okay, so A, you're kind of helping us, and I think we're also kind of helping you with this activity. So first of all, thank you.
Second of all, I'm Mr. Motion and this is Miss Z, in case you don't know who we are.
You guys have been like,
We met some of you guys, so
yeah.
if you remember, but keep this out. Keep this over with the correct time. So what we did was we basically typed up this lesson for you guys, and we're just going to actually run through it with you today, so you know how to run it. But I literally did like verbatim what you got to say in the whole shebang. So today we're going to talk about healthy relationships. Mr. Bochenek is actually going to also pass out some Post-it notes for you guys, so you can take out something to write with. So the goal for this activity is to discuss what a healthy relationship means to each student, okay? We're gonna keep this pretty low key, nothing too intense, so you don't feel like you're gonna get a lot of, where you're like, oh, maybe you're talking to the counselor kind of thing, right? We're gonna discuss topics that relate to relationships. On the board here, what I'm going to write are 3 different columns. So Mr. Bosch is going to hand out one of each color to you guys of these Post-it notes. And then what I handed out to you were different scenarios, okay? So first I want you guys to listen to this definition. Healthy relationships involve honesty, trust, respect, and open communication between partners, and they take effort and compromise from both people. There is no imbalance of power. Partners respect each other's independence, can make their own decisions without fear of retribution or retaliation, and share decisions. So, what your job right now is we're going to give you about 5 minutes. You're going to read through these different scenarios, okay? Your green Post-it note is going to signify green flags, right? Positives in a relationship. Your yellow Post-it note is going to signify, these are kind of our yellow flags, right? So they're like ambiguous, meaning they could fall under the green or the red flags. Your red flags are red flags in a relationship, right? They go against the values, desires, and preferences of individuals. So what you're going to do is you're going to read through these scenarios, take about 5 minutes, and I want you to pick one scenario as a green flag, one scenario as a red flag, and one scenario as a yellow. Did I say all those? Yeah. Yellow, red. Okay. You'll just write the number of the scenario on the Post-it note. Once you've filled out your Post-it notes, I want you to come to the board and you're going to put them under the appropriate columns. So your green ones, you're going to put under the green column. Your yellow Post-it notes, you're going to stick under the yellow, and the red, you're going to stick under the red. Okay. So it's just one scenario, one of each. Yeah. So you have a list of all these scenarios. You got to pick one that's a red one that's a green, one that's a yellow. Yes.
And we also write down
Just write down the number of this, yeah, and then we're gonna discuss them all. And once you have them all filled out, then you'll put them up here on the board.
We're just trying to save you guys time, because we know that some of those freshmen, if they're gonna write, could take them the whole
Yeah,
period.
forget it.
Yeah.
So
Just have them pick a number, and then you guys can discuss, why something might fall in a certain category.
So again, red flags are right, these go against the values, desires, and preferences of individuals. Our yellow flags are ambiguous, meaning that they could fall under a green or red flag, and they're also subjective, right? So one of you could think that's a red flag, and the other one could think, oh, maybe that's a green. Green, of course, is positives.
Once you guys have those numbers on there, feel free to come up to the board and put them under the appropriate category.
Everything's
It's
Maybe this new person is a shut up Jack.
I like an old one.
I'm bringing them out. Did you write all of them?
I did.
Now you also have to remember that these are freshmen we're talking about, right? So maybe they haven't experienced the relationship yet.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm talking to some kids that are like,
Oh my God.
that shouldn't even be considered a relationship.
No, it's not. If you haven't talked to them.
In person.
Or hung out with them more than once for a year. But they're dating, guys. They're dating. It's a thing.
They haven't hung out. Oh, I love those relationships where they don't hang out after school.
They don't hang out at all.
They just talk.
They just talk on
FaceTime or whatever.
That's a real relationship.
I mean, it's better than only text.
True.
And it's COVID,
And it's,
so I mean,
yeah. Okay. So, I guess the first question, raise your hand if you thought that it was really easy to identify a green flag from the scenarios. Okay, raise your hand if you found it easy to identify a red flag. Raise your hand if you thought it was easy to identify a yellow one. A little tricky, right? Okay, so, do you wanna go on that side, read off the numbers?
Sure. So it looks like for greens, we have a lot of ones.
Ooh, what was the one? They respect everyone, not just their friends, family, and partners. I would say that's for sure a green flag.
Yeah.
Right?
We have a 6.
Ooh. 6. They prioritize making time for you. For sure, green flag.
We have a 10.
10. They are attentive to your needs.
And then we have an 11.
They are not afraid to talk about a future with you.
And then last but not least, it looks like a 12.
They give you all their time.
Does everyone agree with that one?
Does everyone agree with that? No. Why not? Somebody tell me why they think that's not.
It could be a good thing, but it could also be a.
Right.
I said it was a yellow flag because like they can give you time, but like if they're spending all of their time like focusing on you and they like don't do anything else, it's just kind of weird. Yeah, annoying. Like you haven't give me space.
Yeah, okay, wait, I love that, right? Do you
Yeah.
have your own goals? Like, are you your own person or are you just obsessive? Yes.
I think I like to get you also lose like your friends. If you're only out with one person, you lose people that would do anything for you and you don't realize it.
So we've actually had, I mean, we had a student come down who I'm joking about, but yes, like that has been a thing where it's like they have, like, all their friends won't talk to them anymore because they realize they're in this not good relationship, but they don't want to break it off with the person, right? So all the friends are basically not, which is super sad, right? You would think like, that's a friend, you want to be with somebody, but that's also super frustrating and annoying because you're like, hello, like this is not good for you, right?
I think the other thing that's interesting is that, you know, for some, maybe they're looking for certain characteristics of a relationship that maybe not everyone's looking for, right? Or maybe they're basing this off of a past relationship that they just got out of where, you know, someone didn't have any time for them.
Yeah.
And so this is all, you know, extremely personal and sensitive, and we just want to make sure that we're being respectful when we talk about everyone else's opinions, I guess.
Yeah. Let's do red and then we'll do yellow.
Red?
Yeah.
Okay.
I see some like different
13.
ones.
13 looks like the number one.
History of cheating. Yeah, red flag, show. Yeah. Have you ever?
I said it doesn't stop some people.
I know, true.
That's a good point.
And then I was also gonna say like, I don't know anybody, but if you know anybody that has had a history of cheating, maybe they're like, no, I'm not gonna do it anymore. Like, do you give them that chance? They tell you.
Or do you wait until they move out of
Or
McHenry?
do you wait until they wait till you graduate? I
like
Four.
4 and 5.
4, they frequently criticize you or put you down. Yeah. No. No. Absolutely not. 5, you constantly catch your partner being dishonest. I mean, honesty is the best policy, right? I mean, that was part of the, right, that definition again. And you want to make sure that when you read that, like the kids are kind of listening, but also you can read it again. Yes.
Yeah, I feel like those can kind of be contradictory to each other though, because sometimes honesty is hard and is critical of each other.
100%. Because sometimes, right, sometimes people aren't honest because they don't necessarily want to hurt the other person. But
Those white lies, aren't they okay?
Not all the time. But, right, we have to think of it prospectively, like, to be honest and then to give that other individual the opportunity to make their own decisions based on their needs, I think is important. And that's where, again, that definition comes into where, it involves honesty, trust, respect, and open communication between partners, and they take effort and compromise from both people. There is no imbalance of power. They respect each other's independence and make their own decisions without fear of retribution or retaliation. All right.
Number 2, that's a good one.
They have a relationship with their ex.
I see a lot of cringy faces in the audience.
That's a good one.
I don't know if it's just me, but I remember like a year ago I saw on the internet that it was not, it's good to be mutual with your ex because if they crap talk their ex, it just shows the person they are. Like if they sat there
Okay.
and just didn't talk good about their ex, it showed how they are and how it would be.
A lot of agreement out there, or?
But at the same time, it's like you do not want your new
Fuck it, I'm
boyfriend.
like, hell no!
The type of relationship.
Andrew speaking.
I still just wouldn't want them
I
to be
think-
contact. Be like, no.
Alright, I think it depends how close they are. So if they stay mutual, I think that's fine, that's great.
Okay.
If they are very close with someone,
What's very close in your definition? Like they hang out all the
consistently,
time?
yeah,
talk all
hang
the
out.
time?
Within less than 6 feet.
like, there should be like a 1 week gap before every word you need to say with them, I feel like after that. Like, if you're moving on, I don't think you need to have a very close relationship with that ex, it's just not like.
Okay.
Okay, so see, I agree with that. I think that if you're in a good spine relationship, it's okay to know that they have like they're mutual with their ex. But like I've been in the position where I think they're mutual with their ex, but really they're like he's cheating behind my back with his ex. Like I've had that relationship, so like I know like I'm very like wary when people are talking to their exes now. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me ponder. I think that. Never mind. Say something that's gonna
Well,
upset
to
me.
your point, it's like we
Wait, I wanna
also tend to base our decisions off of our own experiences, right? Like you've been wrong, you've been duped, you're like, nah, not my vibe. Like I'm not gonna go with that, right? Or some of you maybe have had exes, or you're dating somebody who's been kind of okay with your ex and nothing's ever, bad has come of it. And so a lot of times, right, we base these decisions off of what we've been through.
So truth be told, all of these are yellows. So just so we're clear, like all of these characteristics are yellows. They're open for debate, right? Because some of these positive things could be a negative thing. And so I think as we move to this yellow category, we're going to see a lot of discussion about what people view as maybe some of those cautionary signs of maybe a bad relationship or maybe a good relationship. So it looks like number 9.
9 is they remind you of your ex.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Everyone has a
hard.
type. What's it? The guy just
Right.
a type.
Right, or like if it ended, I think there's a difference if it ended poorly with your ex or if it ended amicably, right? Like sometimes if they remind you of your ex, you're like, it's okay, I don't care. But sometimes you're like,
But those are all the
I
qualities
hated that
I hated.
person. Nope. Yeah, that's a tough one.
Looks like number 7.
Your partner's very jealous.
Well,
That's such a red flag for me. Yeah. Your thoughts?
Keyword is very.
How very are we talking?
But then they're really interested in you, right?
It's so funny because it's so different when you talk to freshmen.
I know, they're gonna look at you like you have three eyes, like, what are you
No,
talking
yeah.
about?
I see 3.
Yeah, number 3.
They have a hard time telling you how they feel.
That could be from like past trauma though. Like you never know. Like if they have a hard time opening up because it was their family or something happened in the past. Like obviously if you're like dating for like 2 years, it's still like that.
They still don't talk to you, yeah.
Yeah, this is
I think that just is like the situation for a lot of people that they just don't open up a ton anyways. So I feel like having especially open up to someone like a relationship situation might be a little harder for someone.
Yeah.
If they already don't do it in general at all, open up about anything.
I mean, that's where that communication piece comes into.
Yeah, and you can also see why that would be a yellow flag because, you know, as much as we've tried to master the art of reading minds, you know, we're just not there yet. So if you don't know where your partner's at, it puts you in this spot where you don't know if today is the last day that you guys are gonna be together, or, you know, your future looks bright, or where you guys are headed. What else do we have up here? Looks like 2.
No, that was the relationship with their ex. Spreadsheet. You want you guys saw that.
How about an 8?
Oh, your partner tends to make all the plans themselves. Like, are you okay with that? Are you like, yeah, sure, I don't want to plan anything? Are you like, nope, I need to have control. I need to have control
I think
over
you're-
what goes on.
I think it is gonna be a yellow flag because like obviously I don't want to plan everything, but like at the
Right.
same time it's like sometimes I don't want to plan anything.
Yeah, I feel like I don't care. But then I'm sorry, guys. It's like, where do you want to eat, babe? She's like, I don't know. Where do you want to eat? And then you name 6 places. You're like, no, no, no. Where do you want to eat? I don't know. What do you guys think? Yes.
I think it depends on the situation.
Yes.
And like the decision too.
Yeah.
Like if they're making all of the decisions. Like let's say you have like a long relationship, like and you're planning like, I don't know, they do whatever and like, if they're making all the decisions, not like they're.
Yeah. Right. Like, what type of plans are they? So if it's like figuring out where to eat, or is it like,
Borderline controlling.
yeah, borderline psychotic? Like, no, you can't go here because I don't.
You can't be friends with them.
Yeah, right, like, where's that middle ground where you're still independent enough to make your own decisions, but then sometimes it's nice to have people plan stuff for you, right? Shows you that they care, that kind of thing. Did we name them all? I think most of them.
I think so. So what were the ones that everyone avoided?
I think you guys hit almost all of them. Oh, number 10, I didn't really see that.
Yeah, I didn't see a number 10.
Number 10 was they are attentive to your needs.
Oh, yeah, there's one.
Oh, there's one.
One, put it on.
Yeah, you guys were pretty even keel across the board of like the whole scenarios, which I think it might come different to freshmen of like, you might see like all of them pick the same one for bringing it, right? But that comes into play of like, maybe they haven't had that many experience with like various relationships, right? Or maybe more of these are more ambiguous to them, right? Like they're like, oh, well these, I have no idea if this is a red or yellow. But they'll probably be able to identify more green, I would say, and it would probably be all the same ones, right? Like number 1, they respect everyone, not just their friends. Great, we would hope that they would put that down. But you guys are pretty good as far as like going through all of them and kind of like evenly placing them across the board here.
I also think it's cool that, you know, you can see a lot of people in thought, like reflecting, like, oh, would that be something that aggravates me, or is that something that I'm looking for in a relationship? And I think like when you guys do this with the freshmen, they're going to, some of them are just going to copy their friends, right?
Yeah.
But I think the important part is just to have that discussion so that they're aware of, you know, maybe the pros and cons of certain characteristics falling into various categories so that they have a better understanding of maybe that positive relationship and how they can kind of build what that looks like for them.
Right, because they haven't had that many experiences. And then I think too, just, I forgot, left my brain. What was I gonna say? So, with this, at the end, there's actually, we're gonna post their next, like, AIM challenge that they have for the month. And it's a super easy Google form that we post in their Schoology page, they have like a freshman Schoology page. So I'm gonna post it today, so some kids that like actually read the email and pay attention will probably fill it out. But your job, this is where you help us, is to pretty much just bring it up at the end. There's a whole, basically, again, typed it all out for what to say, you can literally just read it. But towards the end, you'll just kind of say, like, in talking about relationships, you know, the staff here want to make sure they're supporting students in all aspects. I mean, it's just Mr. Bosch and I at the campus, so a lot of times we like pretty much share all the kids. Like, we know each other's kids, we buy caseloads, all that stuff, and they always come down. And so one of those aspects is promoting healthy relationships. Sometimes we have to look back and reflect on how we can improve and better ourselves. And so the AIM challenge that we set up this month, this is what you're gonna read, also involves self-awareness and goal setting. So the part of like second semesters to hopefully help them just kind of think about the rest of the year to kind of goal set for themselves what they want their freshman year to end and how they want that to look like. And there's a Google form that's posted on their Schoology page. I'll post it today, so it'll be on there. You can have a look. They have there's like a sneaky little folder that says AIM Challenge, and then I'll post the February one. And so the first part is just like a couple questions, who their AIM teacher is, what kind of their goals are for the rest of the semester. And then you'll say at the bottom of the Google form, there's a section where they can provide information like about this activity, and then things that we can then address hopefully in our next podcast. We're doing like a healthy relationships one. We're gonna have one of our students on it again, and she's gonna talk about, we're gonna do like a little red flag kind of segment with her. But the hope is then to get like student feedback where almost like a, hey Boshin, or hey Missy, like I have this situation, what's your advice kind of thing. It's an opportunity for the kids to literally have a say in what we discuss on that podcast. So we'll be doing it at the end of this week, so hopefully we get some submissions. Obviously the AIM class with the most submission of the Google form, they get a treat, they get a dessert, we usually do something for them.
I think we're doing chocolate covered strawberries from
Oh, that's what we
Riverside.
decided we're doing. So if you want your AIM class to win, maybe we'll deliver some to you guys too, because you did help us out with this activity.
Okay.
So if you really push this Google form, it'll be indebted to you. But basically at the end, you want to encourage, right? We're helping you guys with this and that. We're kind of like building the narrative so there's not any of those like awkward, concerning, like open-ended statements that maybe a freshman makes you like, "Ugh, this
Like the
is
kid that
borderline."
raises their hand for shock value to put it up here, and then you
Yeah.
guys are discussing something that you don't feel comfortable with, right?
Yeah, so that is where at any point you encourage them to come down and talk to student services, have them come down and talk to one of us, whether that's a psych, a social worker, a counselor, with any concerning situation that arises. So you can always tell them like your counselors are here if you need to discuss anything, if something, I don't like using the word trigger because I feel like it's a.
An oversharer.
Yes, so, if a student, feels like, oh, I need to talk about something more in depth, encourage them to come down and talk to us about it. But we're keeping it pretty light, and again, providing you these scenarios, it's gonna be the same ones that you'll hand out to them, so you're kind of, where your realm is and what you're gonna discuss.
We just have to find more post-it notes, I think.
Yeah, we'll get you guys one stuff. Yeah, give them each a stack.
Yes.
We'll get some.
We'll meet, you guys wanna meet?
Are you putting their aims together for this?
They usually do,
Okay,
so there's more time.
yeah, so they're not going to like.
Some aims are, like your aim, there's a group of kids that don't do activities, right? Some that they need to work,
Yeah.
so we kind of just, but we'll try to get most involved, especially in challenge and whatnot.
Yeah, so I'm gonna post it today, but you can tell them it'll be on their school, yeah.
Are we gonna have
so I literally like verbatim wrote out what you say. Super easy. Shared it with one already. Have that for you guys. Cool.
And I think on the Google form, it's just a reflection of what worked and what didn't work from last semester.
Yeah.
A short-term goal, and then what they're looking forward to in terms of the transition to the upper campus. So it's kind of like past, present, future.
Future, and then there's the relationship.
It's already.
I'm gonna post it when we get back to it, yeah.
So they'll have it.
They'll have it, yeah, they'll have it like in their email, or if they look on their school issue page, it'll be in there, under any challenges. We'll walk around too, kind of talk about this. Yeah, we'll be there. Cool. Any questions? You guys are like pros already. This is like life skills.
Easy?
Yeah, easy
It's
enough?
very easy.
Yeah, okay, cool. Alright.
We were racking our brains trying to not
I know, and then
put you guys up here to talk about relationships.
Yeah, we were, yeah. Yeah, we did this a little better than what we started out with, so not to freak you guys out or have to, yeah, it's a lot with freshmen. Yeah, some of it's hard to get them to share too. Okay, cool. Thanks, love.
You're welcome.
Do
Thank
you
you
need
guys.
anything else from us?
I don't think so. We'll just meet, should I, for sticky notes, where can we get those?
Do you want,
Yeah.
we can go. I'll hold on, I'll take it.
That
doesn't want.
Send her an email, she'll pull a bunch of them.
Tell her to pull something. Do you need me
We'll
to
try to
print
pull
these for
some.
you?
I'll just print them, I'll go do it now, and then I'll pass them on to them.
Okay.
We'll try to find some other freshman campus too.
You'll want to print, make sure they should have this one.
Yeah, 'cause all the kids will be.
I'll get one just this one. Yeah.
500.
Yes, I need.
Well, for
They
that,
just need the.
they just need the lesson.
I forget how many customers.
And like this will be the test.
Easy enough. Thanks for having
All
us.
same challenge and.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chocolate covered straw.
I feel like you should bring some.
Like location and offer.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Until next time.
You gotta, oh, wave the camera.
I kept trying not to look at that because that's
I don't even know
uncomfortable.
if it's going.